Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. Today I'm in my Bushcraft laboratory and I'm going to show you all the loot that I was able to pick up at the old school survival boot camp. Now if you recall from my last video, I had the opportunity to be a presenter at the 2022 old school survival boot camp in MacArthur, Ohio. I had an absolutely fantastic time and an incredible experience. I met some fantastic people. And I had the opportunity to be able to sell some of my unused kit. And I did very, very well. And as a result, I had a few extra dollars, so I went shopping. And I was able to come up with quite a few finds that I was able to pick up. And I'm going to share those with you today. Now the very first thing that I purchased was actually the second night of the event. And this is the North American Rescue IFAK. It's called the Eagle. And this was from Drum Emergency Solutions. And the owner of the business also taught some classes, which unfortunately I wasn't able to attend any classes this year. I'm going to definitely correct that mistake next year. Jake Drum owns and operates a business, and he also teaches all kinds of classes, and I'll be putting all the links down below to where you can contact these people. And Jake does private classes for groups, individuals, community groups, what have you, but he does an absolutely fantastic job and has fantastic gear and equipment. As you can tell, a big surprise, I purchased the multicam version, and this is very, very well made. ITW buckles, a lot of thought went into how you open this up. You can go ahead and do the rip version of opening the IFAK. I really, I don't really care for that. I like just using the zippers. I'm always afraid I'm going to mess up the zippers. But as you can see, the IFAK is complete. Anything that you would normally have in a regular military issue IFAK is in here. You have tourniquet, you have, it's the cat tourniquet, you have quick clot, you have the airway, you have some surgical shears, you have the chest seal, you have the airway vent, you have compression gauze, and literally anything that you would have in a regular military IFAK is all put in this absolutely fantastically designed package. This is the most well organized IFAK that I believe I've ever seen, and it's very compact to a lot of the IFAKs that are on the market. And as a matter of fact, I will probably be doing a video here fairly soon on how to create your own IFAK and how to refill IFAKs, on your own. Because when you buy the IFAK, a lot of what you're actually paying for is the pouch. When it's this well designed, this well thought out, you pay a lot of money for this pouch. I would say this pouch alone is probably going to run about 50 bucks on its own. And a lot of the pouches are just basically like a magazine pouch, military magazine pouch, and they just shove everything in it. And those, I mean, brand new will probably run you about 20 bucks, but you can pick up surplus magazine pouches that will do the same job for anywhere between $5 to $10. And especially if you don't want multicam, it's going to be even cheaper. I was able to track down some IFAK refill kits, and those averaged me about $50 a piece, but they're complete. Everything that would be in this, I was able to get complete refill kits for those, and I'll be doing a video on those later. But again, this was the Eagle North American Rescue IFAK, and it was from Drum Emergency Solutions, owned and operated by Jake Drum. Now, if you recall from the last video, I actually visited Drum Emergency Solutions, and while I was there, I introduced you to Jeremiah Ross, and it was a fantastic human being. I was able to have a fantastic conversation with the night before I shot that video. And even though it was not something I purchased, I wanted to share with you the book that I had mentioned that he gave me, and this is it right here. Now, this book The Doctrine of the Lesser Magistrates is, I think, something that most of us need to read. If you're concerned with the overreach and the almost tyrannical direction federal government is heading, and it's not just in the United States. I mean, it's all over the world. This book is absolutely fantastic. And essentially, the lesser magistrates controlled smaller districts, before the time of Christ. And when they were handed down rules and laws that they collectively decided were not just, or not lawful, they got together and they chose not to do it. They went to whoever the body or individual was that was overreaching their bounds and told them, this is like, you can't do that, and we're not going to abide by your rules and regulations. And in many regards, a lot of folks have done that. I know my county that I live in, we are now a Second Amendment sanctuary, and we do not abide by federal firearms laws and things like that as far as it comes to ownership of firearms. Of course, when you commit a crime at all, of course, that's that's not going to work. But as far as firearms ownership, when it comes to the Second Amendment, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Vinton County is a sanctuary, and we go by that. So if the federal government in any way, shape, or forms wants to impose their rules and regulations on firearms in Vinton County will not in any way support in their endeavors nor enforce any of their rules. But this is a fantastic book. I'm just getting into it, and I'll provide a link to this in the descriptions below. But this was part of the conversation Jeremiah and I had, and it's going to be a fantastic read. It's not tremendously thick, so it's going to go pretty quick, but important information, stuff we definitely need to be considering today. Even though I didn't purchase this, you saw Jeremiah on the video at Drum Emergency Solutions in the video, and I just thought this would be a good opportunity to point it out. Now, the next batch of items I have to share with you is a whole bunch of pouches made by Tuff Possum Gear, owned and operated by Jayberry Miller. I have been wanting to pick up some of these pouches for forever, and I have never had the opportunity, either financially or otherwise, to be able to purchase them. Like I said, I did very, very well with my booth selling my pottery, my excess kit and things like that, and I was finally able to get some. Now, I've got everything labeled so I don't mess anything up as far as telling you what they are. And just in short, Jayberry's materials are military grade. I believe this is 500 Cadora here. YKK zippers, ITW buckles, things like that. All of the materials that he uses is military grade. I mean, it is built very, very well. The designs are very simple. They're very ergonomic, and they make sense. And a lot of his designs are completely original, and I love that. Now, the first time that I was ever exposed to this type of cottage industry with these types of things was years ago when I first started watching Simon, A Bloke in the Woods. He introduced the world to David Fryers in England. And for England, he does what Jayberry Miller does for the United States and makes top quality gear himself. A lot of the stuff is his designs, and it's fantastic when you're able to support small business, cottage industries, things like that. Please do it. Any opportunity you can. Yeah, you'll probably spend more for it. But as far as the quality goes and the fact that you are supporting cottage industries made locally, Jayberry lives about 3 hours north of me here in Ohio. It's something that you want to do. You want to support local business. You want to support cottage industries and things like that. It's a good, responsible thing to do. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just walk you through each one of the pouches. Now this is the 10 by 12 Possibles pouch with handle. And this is a pretty handy thing. If you watched any of my videos and you see how fanatic I am about compartmentalizing and organizing the items that go in my pack, this is what that's all about. To be able to have designated pouches for specific items. Now, I purchased 2 of these, and one of which I wound up winning in the daily raffle. So that was absolutely fantastic, and I was really looking forward to these. These right here, these will be for foodstuffs, things like that. This right here, I very easily could put my toiletries and a t-shirt, pair of unders, and a pair of socks in there. That right there could be just for that. I could put food, what have you. Now the next ones, I'll just go ahead and use this one since it's on top. This is the general purpose pouch. And there's no molly on these, they're just pouches. The nice thing about this one is the fact that you have D-rings on there. You could suspend that from straps, wear it like a shoulder bag. It's a decent size, as you can see. And again, 2-direction YKK zippers. And everything is taped. Everything is very professionally sewn. No loose edges on these. They are absolutely phenomenal. And that right there very easily could house my batteries for my camera and things like that. Some of these I have a good idea of what I'm going to be using them for, but others, they'll find their direction in my pack here in the future. This is a little bit smaller. It's called the tool bag with grab handle. It's a little bit smaller than the 8x10, or excuse me, the 10 by 12. And again, just a simple bag. Super durable materials. Grab handle. And I love the large grab handles because you put those down in your pack. I can label these in multiple ways. I could, just go ahead and write them on there. Or I could do some type of a label tag. So I look in my pack, I can see what's in them, I can grab it, pull it out. And the fact that everything's fairly flat, I mean, you can slide them back into position a lot easier than something large, squared, and bulky. So phenomenal forethought in these. I was able to pick up 2 of these. Most of these things I wound up getting 2 of. And this is very similar to the grab handle 10 by 12, but there's no grab handle. Very easily could put a D-ring there, a piece of 550 cord, and use it exactly the same way. These are just a little bit smaller, and this is an 8 by 10. Any type of, I could put cookware in that. I could put my fire kit in that. Anything, my big fire kit. And there's for my everyday carry fire kit, I very easily could use one of the other pouches that I picked up. So I picked up 2 of those. And I got this great little hammock organizer for my Ridgeline. And unfortunately, they don't manufacture these in multicam, so I had to suffice with Coyote. This is a really interesting material. And I don't know how well you can see that with lighting in here. But it's like a ripstop, heavy-duty nylon that's like a sort of a micro square compared to regular ripstop. And it's very flexible, but super durable for as light as the fabric is, lightweight. But you run your Ridgeline through the slot through here, you can hang that up, put your cell phone in there, what have you, and just to be able to keep things organized where you can grab them at the ready. I picked up 2 of the belt pouches, one in multicam, and this right here would be absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually turn this into a little survival kit, and that right there is going to have everything I need to survive overnight and survive. Not live comfortably, but to be able to survive. So there'll be a fire kit in there. There'll be a space blanket or a survival bivvy, which I've got one of those, would fit in there pretty well. bare basics, you know, flashlight, small pocket knife, something like that. But I'll be putting one of those together and probably do a video on it. And I got one for my EDC, my everyday carry that I can wear no matter where I go on my belt. And just a perfect little size for something like that. And I love Altoids. I have boxes of empty Altoid tins. So being able to use this as the survival kit, I can very easily incorporate the Altoids in it because they fit perfectly. They slide right down. I could probably get 5 or 6 Altoid tins that could have a specialized purpose, specialized items contained therein, and just put a little piece of foam or something in between them so they don't make noise. But that's going to be my EDC. I also picked up 2 of these little pocket tool pouches. Now, these right here are very handy for those little things that very easily, even if you put them in another pouch, these things, you know, will prevent small things like batteries, things like keys, and anything that's small that sometimes, I mean, if you put it in another container, you have to search around on the bottom for it because it spills out. This right here will easily do the trick. And again, there's a material, it's a rubbery type of material, and it's I don't know exactly what that is, but it's really durable. It's a type of stuff that they used on my USMC ILBE. I don't know what the material is, but it's a webbing, but it's rubbery. It's got a great grip to it, but it is tough. I mean, it doesn't stretch at all. However, that right there, if I put this in here, any of the small items that would normally be sliding around are contained, and I can get to them easily. If you're into cooking, very easily you could put your seasonings, things like that in there, and you know, it'll be great for that. Now, the last item I picked up from Jayberry was the Sagewood Gear spool cards, and these right here for 550 cord, 220 cord, could be bank line, whatever you want to use it for. Goes in there, pulls through here, holds secure, wrap it around. You can pull it through there, lock it in place, drape it back around, and you have a fairly decent amount of cords, depending on the diameter of the cord that you're using. And you can actually color code those. Maybe on this one right here, this would be for 550 cord that also have the strands in there that are flammable. You can use for fire starters. This one here could be bank line. This one here could very easily be 550 cord, something like that. But when you have these things, different colors, you can use them for different purposes. That way, when you're looking down inside your bag, you know you want a particular type. You can see the bright color there. And you could also run a different color of 550 cord, some type of color code system on these, so you can see them better. Maybe even with reflective 550 cord. Now that is that as far as my Tuff Possum gear goes. I can't wait to get these things out into the woods and to be able to try these out, and I can't wait to start loading up my pack and deciding what gear is going to go in what pouch and how I'm going to label it, or if I'm going to label it. Another vendor that I featured on my last video was Swartz Foods. Now, Swartz is another cottage industry. They do everything themselves. They freeze dry everything. They do all their packaging themselves. They don't order anything in bulk, and they specialize in freeze dried foods. Show you real quick their prices, and you can see that the prices are actually very reasonable. A lot of them are very comparable to Mountain House. Mountain House is a mega mass produce entity, and this will probably put you closer to the freeze-dried meals that are considered more of the gourmet and things like that. The fact that you are, supporting cottage industry, you're getting a good quality product, that right there is really what you focus on. And yeah, it might cost $1 more or so, $2 more than Mountain House items you purchase at Walmart. However, this is not part of the supply chain. This is all manufactured in Ohio. I believe it's in Broadview Heights, Ohio. And they have a website. Again, I'll be posting all of the information in the description box. I picked up just a sampling of some of their meals. What I'm going to do, I put a lot of thought in this. I'm going to try one of the meals fairly soon. I'll try another one later. But the rest of them, I'm going to be putting them in my long-term storage. Since these are freeze-dried meals, their shelf life is going to be decades. And the way things are going right now, I'm thinking, you know what? I could be using these for backpacking meals, but I'm going to try a couple just so I can put the word out as to the quality from my own personal experience, and then the rest are going into my emergency storage. This one here is creamy chicken and rice, beef and cheese lasagna. This is actually a 4-serving package of diced cooked chicken. I'm going to be breaking this down and putting it in other smaller Mylar bags with oxygen eaters and sealing them in the same company that produces these freeze-dried meal bags. And I'm going to be putting those in other rations that I'm going to be creating here in the next few weeks. We have beef marinara over pasta, chili with beans. I have some freeze-dried diced red skin potatoes. This was really interesting when I was talking to the people that were running the booth. These are only 80% cooked. So once they're reconstituted, you can finish preparing them in any way you want, and they still have that cooked potato bite to them, like the texture, which I thought was brilliant, because with potatoes, if they're fully cooked and you rehydrate them, that's it. I mean, you have hot, moist potatoes. And if you wanted to do something, let's say you want to do some hash, some, you got some corned beef, something like that, and you want to incorporate some potatoes, put in some onions, things like that, and actually cook a meal, that right there is fantastic. And I think this is another multi-servings. Most of these are two people, but there are some, like I believe the potatoes is a larger than 2 serving, and the chicken chunks are definitely, that's a 4-person serving, 4 individual servings. And I purchased some freeze-dried eggs. I have not had a lot of luck with powdered eggs, and I'm going to try these, and I'm going to try some scrambling them up. Now, granted, when I first tried them, it was almost 20 years ago, and I think my knowledge base may have increased as far as fuel cooking goes, and I'm going to try those out. But I'm probably going to have at least, I'm going to break down the chicken chunks, and I'm going to try either the lasagna, the pasta marinara, or the creamy chicken and rice. And then the rest of them are going to go into storage. And the chunk chicken is going to be repackaged into individual servings and put into storage. Now, the next item that I purchased was actually something I had purchased from the same person at an earlier time. It's not the exact item, it's the same type of item. And this is another IFAK frame. Because, there's just never enough ridiculousness in my life. I have a couple more projects several more projects that I'm going to be utilizing components of the IFAK system, and primarily based around the IFAK frame. I purchased these from our local surplus dealer. His business is called The Outpost. He does not have a website. You can't order anything online, and it is billed as an indoor flea market and military surplus. Unfortunately, bulk of his surplus is packed. I mean, absolutely packed in this really huge trailer. And I don't think he's gone through it in quite some time, but he did happen to have several IFAK frames that he had out for sale. The frame itself has never been issued. There's no marks or blemishes on it whatsoever. The pads on these, I don't believe had ever been issued. However, they're incomplete. The top portion of the straps, shoulder straps that go through this section, these slots on the IFAK frame, those are missing, which doesn't bother me at all because there are all kinds of little component parts on what is here that I can actually use for other projects. So I'll be cannibalizing just about everything that is left after this, because I'll be replacing the shoulder straps, I'll be replacing the waist belt and kidney pad with something new, and I'm also going to be trying out a couple more IFAK frame designed backpacks that I purchased, and those will be coming up. So I look forward to some more ridiculousness in the near future. Now, last item I have is sort of frivolous, and I bought it primarily because I'll be working in my bushcraft laboratory quite a lot this summer, and there's no air conditioning out here and it gets really hot. So I purchased an insulated mug that is, sorta, kinda multicam-esque for me to be able to drink some iced tea, some ice water, and stay good and cold while I'm out here working and sweating. But the nice thing about this one is I've customized it already. Right there, that's one of my new stickers! That's one of my new stickers! Yes. So this is boondockified, and that should come in quite handy this summer. That's all the loot I picked up this year at the Old School Survival Boot Camp. And I think I was able to score some excellent kit, and I can't wait to put it to use. Now, I've got a few updates and some more information I'm going to share with you right now. And just to throw it out there, and I'll be putting everything I'm sharing with you right now in the description box, so you can look at that and just jot the information down without having to go back and checking out the video again. First of all, I have a new shipment of patches in. So I will be putting on my community page or doing another video, real quick update as to what patches are available, show them all to you again, and be giving you instructions on requests and shipping and all that information that you may need in order to acquire those. But I was fairly pleased with how they turned out. The Follow Me patch, the background color wasn't the color I wanted, but it's still good. And it was a real hassle. I took a month and a half of going back and forth with this company to produce them and to the quality that I thought that they were going to turn out well. And they were sending me photographs of proofs that they had manufactured. And that doesn't work, because what I approved, what I saw that looked like, even a large JPEG, the lighting, whatever lighting they're using, makes the colors look different. So when I approved the Follow Me patch, I thought I was approving more of an olive drab background, and they sent me something that was more of like a bright olive or just a standard forest green. So it doesn't look like the originals as far as the colors go, but the embroidery is still top notch. And I'll show them to you. But I'll be putting up that information here fairly soon. Next year's Old School Survival Boot Camp is going to be held May 12th through the 14th. Now, they already have early bird ticket orders available online. Just go ahead and Google it, or I'll put the link in the description box below to where you can go to order your tickets. and take care of anything that you may need to take care of. Now, the early bird prices are going to be much better than they are once the early bird time runs out. So if this looks like something that you want to do and that you're pretty much sold that, yeah, I want to attend this year, the sooner you get your early bird tickets ordered, the better, and be able to take care of whatever type of arrangements you want to do as far as lodging goes. If you want to camp there, you can take care of that. If you want to look for other campgrounds that are in the area or rent cabins, things like that that are in the area, that would be now would be the time to do it. I was informed by a couple of people I know that own and operate cabin rentals that their rates are going to be going up in July, and I would foresee that that would be something that would be continuing in through our wonderful world of recession. Now, another event that I think is absolutely fantastic, another family-friendly event, I posted a video about it last year. It's the Central Ohio Bushcraft Gathering. Now, the event this year is actually going to run a Friday through a Monday, and that would be October 7th through October 10th. And you know, they tried to do this in a way to where more of the kids could come, because most kids don't have school on Columbus Day, which will be October 10th this year. I'll be posting more information about this as that information becomes available. I'll be presenting this year, and I'll be doing classes probably every day on walnut dyeing and the benefits and uses of black walnuts. I did a video not too long ago to where I discussed a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be teaching at the class, except the class this year, I'm actually going to be able to have, you know, if everything works out okay and the way I want it, there's going to be enough people bringing walnuts in and wash tubs in to where we will actually be able to have students dye articles of clothing, pieces of kit, and to be able to use that dye in actual practical terms, so they actually experience doing it, and they can take stuff home. And if we have enough walnuts being brought in, we can process the walnuts, separate the hulls from the nuts, and participants can actually take the shelled walnuts home, dry them out so they can bust them open, consume them. They're absolutely fantastic. And take the hulls, sans shell, and to be able to take those home, lay them out, dry them out, so that way they have walnut dye anytime into the future they ever want it. The past 2 months have been beyond hectic and chaotic. It's been absolutely insane, this 2 month time period, and it's gone in a blur. I can't believe I was able to get everything done in the past 2 months that I did. However, summer's opening up, and I'm going to be going out into the woods a lot more frequently. As a matter of fact, next weekend, I'm going to be hitting the woods with about 20-25 people that I may have met through the Central Ohio Bushcraft Gathering. Some of them I've never met before. We're going to do our own little gathering in Northwest Ohio. We're going to have to get together for 5 days, do some bushcrafting, share some skills, and pretty much have some fellowship and brotherhood, and just enjoy the woods and the weekend. This will probably be my first video footage I'm going to be producing this summer of actually being in the woods, but I have a lot of plans for this summer. So get used to seeing me in the woods quite a bit. I'm also going to be squeezing in a lot of bushcraft laboratory stuff, because I have a lot of projects that I need to do in order to take to the woods, and a lot of those projects I think that you would find interesting, and you may want to try some of these projects on your own. So hopefully the content's going to increase as far as a number of videos that I'm able to get produced, and I'm going to have a lot more time to do both projects and hitting the woods. Well, folks, I really appreciate you joining me today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.